Today's discussion will be presented in 3 sections since we are recording this session for a radio broadcast on Federal News Radio 1500 AM. Please feel free to post questions and comments during the session, and we'll try to get them answered online. We are particularly pleased to welcome our moderator, Tom Temin, anchor of the Federal Drive on Federal News Radio 1500 AM. Let me turn over the reins to Tom to begin today's discussion.
Welcome and thanks for joining us. Our guests today are Harry Lee, the Senior Computer Scientist for Infrastructure at the Census Bureau. Mary Jean Schmidt, she is Federal Business Development Manager at NetApp. Sandra Kuntz is Director of Production and Operations and Infrastructure in the Office of the CIO at the Peace Corps. And Dave McLaughlin, CEO and owner of Blue River IT. And we're going to get right to it. Clearly, cloud figures in the future of federal computing, what federal agencies are doing. So I wanted to get an idea from our 2 federal agency guests what your basic strategy right now is for cloud, now that we're, I guess, 4 or 5 years into the cloud era, if you will, for the federal government. Agencies are at different levels of development. Harry, why don't we start with you? Tell us what's going on cloud-wise and what your strategy is for Census Bureau.
Well, thanks, Tom. Quite a bit going along cloud-wise. A lot of it is preparation rather than really moving things to the cloud. I'll talk about that now a little bit later as well. But we're looking at a hybrid cloud strategy approach, really looking at what we want to protect internally in a private cloud type of environment, and then what we can actually provide externally in a public cloud or a community cloud, such as the government or academic community. One of the key things is no matter what level of service we provide our users, it needs to be transparent, if it's internal, external, or wherever. So a lot of focus on creating a service catalog where the user community can interact and just request services. IT looking to become a broker of services to include cloud is kind of our strategy. One of the things that we're doing as we implement new discipline around building systems is looking at some policies when we look at design alternatives, things like virtualize first, things like shared first or cloud first. Doesn't mean you have to go to the cloud or have to use a shared service, but you need to look at it as an alternative. So really we're putting that discipline in the way we design our systems is something else as part of our strategy. And the other part of our strategy is we're in the data business. So we conduct surveys and censuses, and there's 2 primary data types. So data is really critical when you're looking at a cloud service. We have title data, which contains personally identifiable information, PII, which is primarily a private cloud type thing. We have public use data, a lot of data via our website. We have mobile applications, and we have public application program interfaces, APIs. So some of that may become available in a cloud offering, not just from Census or not just Commerce, but government-wide. So we're really aligning with the federal government strategy as well.
All right, so it sounds like you have a pretty thorough decision tree process you go through for application and data sets one by one.
Right, and what we're doing now is we're looking at commonalities around that business of data, and how we collect data, how we process it, analyze it, store it, disseminate it. And based on those commonalities, looking at where cloud offerings may suit, providing the capability the business is looking for.
Okay, and let's move to Sandra Kuntz from the Peace Corps. And you're not quite as far along in the cloud yet. What is the strategy? What are you thinking about in an agency that does span the globe?
Mm-hmm. Well, as you mentioned, our agency does span the globe, and that's one of our biggest challenges, is making sure whatever solutions we put into place work well domestically. We have locations around this country, and that's never really much of a challenge. But in our 70 overseas locations, our biggest challenge is always bandwidth, just cost of bandwidth, availability of bandwidth in many of the locations where Peace Corps works, and then just having stability, because often ISPs are available, but they're just not stable enough to allow access back to a central location or even to a cloud solution to be viable. So with that in mind, we have been focusing on looking at what makes the most sense to move to the cloud for us. And we have taken some of our main applications around volunteers and bringing volunteers into Peace Corps. Our major application in that space is now cloud-based. We also have taken our public website to the cloud, and so we're learning lessons from those things. We're learning around how to structure our contracts so that we have good SLAs in place and that we can get the best service for our money. Going forward, similar to Census, at Peace Corps, we're taking a hard look at standardization within. And we have made very good progress towards virtualization, which we think is a key point for us to be able to move things to the cloud more easily going forward. So our focus has been around looking at what we can virtualize, and always we choose a virtual solution unless there just simply is a compatibility or a service support from another vendor issue. And we're also looking at trying to streamline the applications that we support and the environments that we support. We've moved from multiple OSs, multiple solutions for databases, into a more streamlined set of solutions that we're supporting, again with the idea that this will make moving things to the cloud easier for us.
Okay, so sounds like there's some work to do, especially in those areas of low bandwidth where it's not all like the U.S. or Western Europe, where everywhere you go there's bandwidth.
Exactly.
All right, Mary Jean, NetApp is in the infrastructure business, and you've got a big footprint across data centers and what agencies do. What do you see across the board as what people's strategies are? What's, I guess, the current state of the art for federal cloud from your point of view?
Right. Well, NetApp is a data management company, and from that perspective, we look at cloud and some of the shared services initiatives from that lens, and we're seeing a lot of what both Harry and Sandra just echoed. So first wave, private cloud adoption, both either on-premise or off. That is kind of keeping it under control of a particular agency. But more and more, as Sandra mentioned, public-facing websites going to commercial cloud providers. I mean, that's kind of another wave that you mentioned earlier. And now we're seeing, as Harry mentioned, this hybrid environment. So agencies looking to a multitude of cloud service providers for different workloads, different data sensitivity requirements, and then the next step is the need to kind of, how do you marry that all up? How do you govern your data across those disparate environments? So we're basically seeing what these two agencies have described across mostly civilian agencies, but even a little bit in the DoD community as well.
And so in data management, people want to avoid duplication of data in multiple places if possible, or by the same token, they want to have it duplicated on purpose in case there's a latency issue, so maybe East Coast, West Coast, or Eastern Hemisphere and Western Hemisphere. So how does that all play into the cloud business and thinking?
I think that's part of it, but I think the step before that is really agencies have to control and manage their data in the same way they did on-premise in their own environment when it moves to the cloud. So they have to kind of figure that out when they select a cloud service provider.
So what's good for data management is also good for cloud then, and vice versa.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. Okay,
and Dave McLaughlin from Blue River IT, tell us your perspective. Tell us a little bit about what the company does, because you started it, yep. and so you're in this business now, and tell us what you're seeing from the federal customer standpoint.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Blue River was essentially born out of building out data centers. We would construct, design, populate, and build out what's today's modern-day infrastructure that are run throughout the federal marketplace, commercial, and so forth. So several years ago, we looked and said, okay, we've built out all these private cloud infrastructures. What's the next phase? What's the next generation? And that led us into the commercial cloud. So we did a lot of research into the commercial cloud and how that worked. What we're seeing now with our customers is the question of, okay, we have this infrastructure and we have things that we run here. How do we continue to leverage what we've invested in, but also leverage what's available on the commercial cloud? So in terms of what most people are looking for, it's more of a hybrid cloud environment from what we're seeing. As Harry mentioned, it's very, very much about the data, where it resides, how you protect it, how you manage it, how you get it from your private cloud up into a commercial cloud and back and forth. So one thing that we're seeing is people really taking a good hard look at what kind of data do they have, how do the applications access that, how do the users get access to the applications, and from there they start to make a plan. Okay, well, we want to put some applications here, some legacy applications need to remain. Some can go to the cloud, and we can leverage them from that standpoint.
Oh, so many questions. Let me ask you this, though. When people are in federal agencies are out of the private cloud and in this hybrid environment, and they're using the commercial cloud, do they tend to want to be single tenant or government-only tenants, or are they sometimes comfortable with multi-tenancy where the other tenants are not government?
I think it depends. There's going to be a mix of, essentially comes down to more the data. Where can I let my data reside? When people really take a look at the commercial cloud and peel back the layers of how data is written into that cloud, they would find that even in a multi-tenant type environment, the data is so distributed that it'd be very difficult to piece it back together. But there's always going to be applications or specific things like PII data, for example. That has a totally different set of criteria for protecting it, managing it, than, let's say, someone's user home directories. So it really just depends. What we try and do is leverage different technologies to say, okay, if you need this segmented for you within the cloud, we can do that. If you're not so adverse to having it across, a shared platform, we can do that too.
So it sounds like data has become almost a type of currency, and people are trying to find the right piggy bank to keep it in. I mean, not to make it too simple, but that's what I'm kind of hearing. And so let me ask you, Harry, data for census, as for all agencies, takes a lot of forms. There's a lot of unstructured data. You've got notes from census takers, survey forms, and then there's also rows and columns, relational database.
Yes.
Do you put those all together in one type of environment, or do you have different cloud setups or different cloud locations depending on the type of data, or does it matter?
Again, it comes down to what we call title data, restricted use, in whatever format it might come in. You mentioned punch cards earlier. I think we're beyond that, but we do have paper data capture, and we're trying to go away from paper. More internet response and self-response. So it's not the format, it's when we ingest that format, how we manage it. If it's title data, more well protected. That data that is aggregated over time, and we then provide it for public consumption.
And when you say title data, what does that term mean?
It's, PII data. We have data from the IRS that we utilize, and we have authorization to do that under their title, and then we have data that comes in from the public and names and addresses and things like that again we need to protect. And again, that's data, that's the family jewels.
So it's the sensitivity of it more than the type or format of it that
correct.
That determines.
It's the sensitivity, right? So if it's presented in a way that's for public consumption, then we can more maybe cloud ready, if you will, when we decide to disseminate it that way. Again, we have a whole project looking at the way we disseminate our data and standardizing the way we do that. I mentioned earlier our website, and I mentioned our APIs and apps. We need to look at what cloud offerings might be there across the federal government to make data available in an easy-to-consume manner for the public.
Okay, we're going to get to applications too, but I want to finish up the discussion on data with Sandra at the Peace Corps. What's your data strategy overlaid with your cloud thinking?
At Peace Corps, similar to Census, we are undergoing an exercise right now to look at the types of data that we produce and to categorize it, so that we can make the best use of cloud for the public-facing. We have a lot of public-facing data from the time people first become interested in being a volunteer through the end of their service. There's a great deal of data that's collected and shared with other entities at the overseas location where they're working, because they're part of a development team often. And so other members of the team who might be other U.S. agency folks or local people are interested in accessing that data. So we're examining all of our data at this point to determine what the best solution would be for storing it. A major focus we're looking at right now is in our domestic environment. We have an Office of Communications that focuses on gathering and keeping a lot of historical information about Peace Corps. And the repository is enormous, so we're right now looking at the best solution to allow those people to generate new communications material and also be able to readily access what they have. And that's likely going to be a cloud solution we're looking at right now.
So have you digitized the famous picture of President Kennedy with a young Bill Clinton and put that in the cloud forever?
If they haven't, they're going to do it this summer. There's a big project underway.
Okay, and so Mary Jean, it seems like there's a distinction both by restriction or non-restriction of data, but also data that is available to applications versus data sets that are available to download for whatever the user has in mind. Maybe it's an app we don't know about. Is that a distinction that determines the best cloud strategy?
I think we're definitely seeing that, and agencies are looking at what they should do. There are agencies that have to have these big repositories that they need to share with the broader community as part of their mission. And we can think of, many, whether it's weather data or, research data, things that are essential to their agency mission, as well as data that needs to be accessible by, for example, a compute farm. So needs to be closer to the computer, to the engine, right, to be able to generate more useful information. So I think we're seeing both of those dynamics in different agencies, and it's all really tied to their missions. Right?
All right, we're going to take a break on that note. Our guests today are Sandra Kuntz, Director of Production Operations and Infrastructure in the Office of the CIO at the Peace Corps. Harry Lee is Senior Computer Scientist for Infrastructure at the Census Bureau. David McLaughlin is CEO and owner of Blue River IT, and Mary Jean Schmidt, Federal Business Development Manager at NetApp. I'm your moderator, Tom Temin, and you're listening to Moving to the Cloud, What's the Best Approach for Me? A panel discussion sponsored by NetApp and Blue River IT here on Federal News Radio 1500 AM and federalnewsradio.com.